This Lonely Heart cable pattern is worked on a background of stockinette stitch and has purl stitches or reverse stockinette stitches in the center. I'll show you how to do all the cable crossings and increases that are used in this pattern. The heart is worked in the round, and so I have cast on using the magic loop method. I'm going to be working the heart panel across the front of these stitches, and then on these other stitches I'll just do some ribbing to bring me back around to the front, where I'll show you all of the right side rounds of this heart panel. You can put the heart on anything you like. This is just the smallest thing I could think of to show you how to work it in the round. If you want to know how to work magic loop, that will be a different video. So I'm just going to assume that you know how to work in the round, either on double points or on using the magic loop method. You'll notice in the chart, the traditional gridded chart shows some stitches that aren't there. Those gray stitches, the columns of grayed out stitches that you see, are indications that there's no stitch there in that round. So when you work rounds 1 and 2, there are a total of 4 no stitch symbols. That means that there are really only 18 stitches to start with. So here I have done rounds 1 and 2. I have knit round 1 and round 2, and I'm ready to start round 3. Round 3 has an increase, and that gets rid of one of those no stitch symbols that you see in the chart. So round 3 is to knit 8, then do a make one right increase. To make one right, I'm going to take my left needle tip and insert it from back to front under that strand that's running between the stitches. You see that strand right there? I'm going to go back to front and lift it onto the needle and then knit into the front of that stitch, which is going to twist that strand and create a make one, and then knit 2. Now I'm going to do a make one left. To make one left, I put my left needle from front to back under that strand and then knit into the back of it. Now I did those with the yarn in my left hand, so as a continental knitter. But I'll show you in a little while what it looks like when I do a make one left and a make one right as an English style knitter. They're worked the same way, it just looks a little bit different depending on which hand is holding your yarn. So I'll finish by knitting 8. Then I'm just going to work these other 18 stitches on the back side as rib to come around to round 4. Round 4 is simply a knit round, but you'll notice that there are now 20 stitches because we increased 2 stitches on the previous round. With round 5, we come to our first cable crossing. So we're going to knit 8, then do a 2 over 2 left cross cable. I'll take my cable needle and slide 2 stitches onto the cable needle and hold it in front, knit 2, and then knit 2 from my cable needle. That crosses those first 2 stitches over the next 2 stitches. So all a cable is just knitting stitches out of order. Put that cable needle aside and continue knitting to the end of the panel. Round 6 is another knit round, and it's the last plain knit round we're going to have for the rest of the heart. Every other round has some combination of cables or purl stitches or something going on. Round 7 is where our heart gets started in earnest. going to knit 6, and then do a 2/2 right purl cross. Take my cable needle and slip these next 2 stitches to the cable needle and hold it in back because I want to cross over 2 stitches to the right. Knit the next 2 stitches and then purl 2 from my cable needle. My cable needle is still hanging out back here, so I'm going to bring it around to the front and also bring my yarn around to the front because I need to purl it. So it's a little bit tricky, but I will purl off these 2 stitches. Now I'm not going to put my cable needle down because the next thing I need to do is a 2/2 left purl cross. So for a 2/2 left purl cross, slide the next 2 stitches to the cable needle and hold it in front because I want it to go to the left. Purl 2. This is making the inside of our heart have reverse stockinette or purl stitches. Then I'm going to knit 2 from my cable needle because the outside of my heart has knit stitches. It's made up of 2 knit stitches. And then because I'm going on a background of stockinette, I just knit to the end. It can be helpful to take a look at what you're doing and see if you can read your stitches because that will help you keep track of the instructions as well. If you look carefully, you can see that I have 4 purl stitches right here in the center of my heart, and the outside of the heart is starting to appear as 2 knit stitches and 2 knit stitches here on this background of stockinette. So the crossing stitches are only going to take place every other round for a while. Not on every round, but for every other round for just a while. On this next round, because we just did a crossing round, now we're on round 8, and I'm going to knit the stitches as they appear. That means I'm going to knit the knit stitches, and there's 2, 4, 6, 8 knit stitches, and now I have 4 purl stitches. And then the rest of the stitches are knit stitches. Round 9 begins with a knit 4 and then another 2/2 right purl cross. So take the next 2 stitches, hold them to the back, knit 2, and then purl 2 from the cable needle. So I did my right purl cross. Now I have purl 4, keeping those stitches in reverse stockinette stitch, and then a left purl cross, 2/2 left purl cross. Take 2, hold them to the front, purl 2, and then knit 2 from the cable needle. Put the cable needle down and knit to the end. In round 9, we knit the stitches as they appear. So I'm going to knit 6, and then you can see we have purl stitches. So I'm going to purl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then knit 6. Round 11 introduces us to a slightly different kind of cable. I'm going to knit 3 and then do a 2/1 right purl cross. In this one, you're going to take the cable needle and put the next 1 stitch on the needle, hold it in back, knit 2, that's there 2 crossing over, and then purl 1, that purl 1 from the cable needle. It's hanging out back here. Now you have to remember that you need to bring the yarn forward between the needles and then knit off that cable needle. And take a look at what's going on here. You can see we have a bunch of purl stitches. We need to maintain those purl stitches across here. And then it's time to do a 2/1 left purl cross. So I put 2 stitches on the cable needle and hold it in front. I want them to end up on front. Purl 1 and then knit 2 from the cable needle. So I need to bring the yarn to the back and knit off the cable needle. Don't need the cable needle for now. Knit to the end. You can really see our heart starting to take shape here. Round 12, we'll work the stitches as they appear. So let's knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we do some purl stitches. That was purl 10, and then we'll knit 5 more. Round 13 is very much like round 11 in that we have a 2/1 purl cross. So I'm going to knit 2, put the next stitch on the cable needle and hold it in back. Knit 2, then purl 1 from the cable needle. Then do some purl stitches. I think that's going to be 10 purls. And then do a 2/1 left purl cross. 2 stitches to cable needle, purl 1, knit 2 from the cable needle. And then knit the last 2. Round 14 is a plain round where we knit the knits and purl the purls. So that's knit 4, purl 12. And then knit 4. Before we do round 15, let's take a look at what's happening here. You can see the heart has been growing out and we've been having reverse stockinette stitch inside the heart. Now it's time to start forming the top rounded portion of our heart. That starts with round 15. Knit 4, purl 4, then knit 4. So we're going to start to smooth things out again. Purl 4 and knit 4. Round 16 is where things really get fun. We're going to get rid of some of those no stitch symbols that you see in the chart because I'm going to be making a couple of increases. I promised to show you how to do this increase holding the yarn in my right hand. So I'm going to knit 2 and do a make 1 right. Make 1 right is take the left needle tip, go from back to front under that strand running between the stitches, between the needles, and knit into the front. That's a make 1 right. Now knit 2, purl 3, now I'm going to do a 2/1 right cross. So a 2/1 right cross, I take the next stitch, 1 stitch, hold it to the back, and then knit 2. That stitch was on the needle wrong. And then knit 1 from the cable needle. So I'm going to go back here. That was a purl stitch, but now I'm going to knit it. Then I'm going to go straight into a 2/1 left cross. So I'll take the next 2 stitches, slide them onto the cable needle, knit 1. I'm turning that purl stitch into a knit stitch here, and then knit 2 from the cable needle. And this is the top of my heart starting to bend outward. The center top of the heart is starting to go out to either side. Then purl 3, knit 2, and then do a make 1 left. So a make 1 left is go in under that strand from front to back with my left needle tip, knit into the back of it. There's my make 1 and it leans to the left, and then knit 2. Round 17 is work the stitches as they appear. So 2, 4, 5 stitches, knit, purl 3, knit 6, purl 3, and then knit 5. Before we launch into round 18, let's stop and see what's going on with our heart. You can see the heart's really taking shape here. The center is going out to either side, and we need to bring these top edges together. We need to do something to make these 2 stitches and these 2 knit stitches make a nice curve. We're going to be doing a pretty dramatic decrease at 2 spots on this round. And because of that, we're going to do some increases in the same round to make up for the decreases. Here's what happens. I'm going to start out by knitting 3. Then I'm going to do a make 1 left increase. So make 1 left. I think I'll hold the yarn in my right hand so you'll really be able to see what's happening here. There's my make 1 left. Now I'm going to do this 7/1 decrease, and if you have the pattern you can follow along with me. Slip 4 stitches, 1 at a time, knitwise. So as if I'm going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4. That 4th one is my center stitch. Now I'm going to take the 2nd stitch on the right needle and lift it over the first stitch. We're counting stitches from the tip of the needle. So this is the second stitch. Lift it over the first needle and then slip that stitch back to the left needle. Take the second stitch on the left needle and slip it over the first stitch. So it's like you're binding off, but you haven't knit that stitch at all. I'm going to slip it back to my right needle. So that's one set of instructions there. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to slip the second stitch over the first stitch, slip it back to my left needle, slip the second stitch over the first stitch. That's 2 times I've done that. I'm going to do it again. Slip that stitch to the right needle, lift the second stitch over the first stitch, slip it back to the left needle, slip the second stitch over the first stitch. So I've been doing lots of slipping stitches over. I'll leave, the last time I do it, I'm going to leave that stitch on my left needle and knit 1. And what I have done is I have decreased from 7 stitches to 1 stitch, and you can see that it's making a nice round curve there. But that was a lot of decreases, so I need to do another increase here. I'm going to do a make 1 right increase right here. So there's my make 1 right increase. Now I'm going to knit 2 and do that whole thing again, because I have another top of my heart to take care of. So I need to start by doing a make 1 left increase. Go under, knit to the back of the stitch. Now slip stitches 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift that stitch over, second stitch over the first stitch, move it back to the left needle, slip the second stitch over the first stitch. That got rid of 2 stitches. Move it back to the right needle, do that again, slip 1 over, move it to the left needle, slip 1 over, one more time, slide it to the right needle, slip second stitch over first stitch, slide it to the left needle, slip second stitch over first stitch, but leave it on the needle so that I can knit it, because eventually I do need to knit it. So there I've done my second big decrease, but I need to do an increase here. So I'm going to make 1 right, and then knit 3. That was a lot, wasn't it? Now with those decreases, I still haven't added enough stitches back in to take care of all those decreases I have to do. So on the next 2 rounds, I'm going to have to add some more increases in order to get back to my original 18 stitches that I had. Round 19 is knit 6, make 1 right, knit 2, make 1 left, then knit to the end of the round. The final round is round 20, and that is knit 7, do another make 1 right, knit 2, make 1 left, and knit 7. And there you have your heart. If you'd like more instruction like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out the links in the video notes for more ways you can find me. Thanks for watching.